Welcome in, everybody. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs, which you already know. Welcome to my live. And tonight we're going to be teaching some basics of making a chain link like this, which is fairly simple. And I'm missing one of them, but that's okay. I've got to make one anyway. We're also going to learn to make them out of 20 gauge wire and also add beads to them. We're also going to learn to make them out of 20 gauge wire and also add beads to that. And I have to turn my sound off because I am echoing. Oops. Welcome in, everyone. We'll be working on a simple but elegant chain link creations, which, by the way, you can use for necklaces or bracelets or any type of jewelry, really, that you might have in mind. All right, so let's get to work here. As you can see, I have my computer in the background because I have a hard time seeing what's going on in chat. So we will go from there. And I'm cutting the sound off again so I stop echoing. So welcome in, everybody. Tell me, what is your favorite gemstone, if you have any? And hopefully everybody got notices that I was going live, and so they get their notices to know I'm here. Okay, so let's begin our work now on these simple but elegant chain bracelets, chain link bracelets, necklaces. You could also make them into an ankle bracelet if you so chose to do. So I'm going to get my camera over here on the table where I'll be working. Whoops, I think I turned that the wrong way. Yes, I did. Okay. So now I'm just trying to see if I've got good lighting here and that everyone can see what I'm doing. Okay, looks like you can see on the table. I'm not sure how delayed or long that is, but here are the beads, some of the beads I used in this one. And this, by the way, is 20 gauge or 26 gauge, which is really, I don't know. I like it better in the 18 gauge because I think it's stronger and makes a better one, but it does make it a little harder to create the links. So most of these links that we're going to be creating are going to be out of 26 gauge wire because it's just faster and easier for me to teach you. And you will need, by the way, you're going to need a pair of pliers to be able to cut, your cutters, chain nose, barrel nose pliers, which we're going to be using this one, which is about a 4 millimeter round here. I'm going to teach you step by step how to do this. And I also like using my other pliers here, which have like a bend in them. Makes things really easy. Okay, so we're going to cut about, I was trying to make sure you guys could see I've got wires around here, I'm sorry. I want to make sure you guys can see this ruler here. So we're going to start with about 6 inches to cut, and then from there we're going to cut into sections in order to create the chain lengths. This is really a very simple process. It's just a matter of cutting your wire. So we'll start with this one first, and so we're going to cut about 1.5 inches for the first cut. And then we'll just take this wire for the next cuts and place it against the original wire that I measured out. And we'll cut it again. Sorry if my hands get in the way. And we'll just keep repeating this depending on how many links you want in your chain. Okay, we'll try to get them as even as possible, that they all match. Sorry, I'm trying to make it where you can see me. I apologize. Okay. All right, so let's start with what we have. We have 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we need a couple more, so we'll start again with 6.5 inches. And then we'll measure it again, and I will use one of these that I already cut, which you'll find is easier also if you do that. Then you can match up your cuts so they're even with your wire. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see me. I'm having a delay on my camera over here, so I can't tell exactly. So I'm doing my best to make sure you can see it. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much. Hi, Tight7. Welcome in. Welcome in. Can you hear me all right? Yes, they are chain links, but it's very different type of chain link. And so they look like this. Instead of using beads, we're actually making them this out of this. And I'm using like a 26 gauge right now. This one I'm showing you is like an 18 gauge, which I got to tell you, we're going to do that too. But it is definitely a little bit harder to get that 18 gauge because it's not as soft. Awesome. I'm glad you can hear me all right. Can you see that chain all right I'm showing you? It's a real simple chain, and it actually can be really elegant. And if you decide that you want to, you can cut larger pieces of wire than what I am and make the chain links even bigger. Almost like, I don't know, have you heard of the paper clip necklaces? Thank you so much for being here. So we're going to cut just a few more of these so I can get enough to make a nice size chain here. And I'm doing it out of this 26 gauge para wire, because it actually is going to be able to make the links much faster and easier to show you. But you can use 18 gauge. You can use copper wire too, by the way. You just want to try to make sure these measure out evenly, and then we'll go from there. And I also did some, I don't know what happened. I have a cat, and I believe she got a hold of my other chain links that had all the beads on it. But you can actually even bead these and then hook them together. Trying to see if you can see that. I'm sorry. Hi, Sifa World. Welcome in. We're doing some simple chain links here that you can make bracelets out of, necklaces. You can even do chains on your ankle if you want an ankle chain, if you're from that era. And, you know, you could actually make these into some pretty cool, maybe steampunk funky earrings. Hi to you, Sifa World. Nice to meet you. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist. We're doing some really simple stuff here tonight. I was just telling them that my cat must have got a hold of my other chain link. I had them out and I was in my living room earlier at my coffee table creating these. So a pair of barrel nose pliers really help, but if you have round nose, you can use those. The one I'm using is about 4.5 centimeters. This one here, the smallest one on this barrel. And I've got some chain nose pliers to smush it down, and some cutters, of course, that you just seen me working with. And you can also, if you want to work hard in the wire, especially if you're using a thinner wire like I am, you can use your nylon pliers if you have them. If not, you can use a hammer and a block and tap them. So we're going to start with this 4.5 here. Trying to make this where you guys can see me. I'm not quite sure that you can. That's what I'm worried about. Because I have a delay on my camera on my laptop that I'm trying to watch everyone off of. And I think I cut this one too long. But if you don't cut it long enough, you won't be able to make that little round hoop on the end, which is what I'm showing you right now. We're just going to make these little hoops look like a lollipop. This. I actually roll it around this because this is a very different, we're not actually making loop loops. And you'll get 2 ends just like this. It's really small, but hopefully you can see that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this one, because when you first begin, and you're going to take your barrel nose and put it right in the middle of the wire, like that. And then you're going to press up like this, sort of like a butterfly, huh? And it brings those 2 hoops together right there. And then you're going to push them completely together. Can everybody see that? How they're kind of joined together? And that's your first link, believe it or not. Everybody, don't forget to thumbs up my live. I really appreciate it. It helps with the algorithm. Exactly. Exactly, Tico. Exactly. Well, everybody give my live a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it while you're in here. Would be great. Really helps with the algorithm. And I hope you'll come back to see me for more, because I do other things. Like I make cabochons. This is some of my faux turquoise that I make. You could kind of see them up on the machine, but I figured I'd show it a little closer. And here's one I'm getting ready to put on a necklace, which I think is really pretty. This is all made out of polymer clay. And this clay was chopped up, by the way, in order to get this look. All right. So we now have 1 chain hoop here. Almost looks like what are those pins called? It's like the baby pins. It almost looks like that. These links almost look like that. I should have made it out of copper tonight. That picture you had seen is when I made them out of copper. All right, so we're going to make several more of these. It's just going to be a repeat of that, and I'll show you again. Take your barrel nose and the smallest barrel, which is about 4.5 millimeters, this one here on top. I'm going to bend it over and then just turn it until you almost get like a lollipop there. almost like a lollipop. And then we're going to turn it around and do the same thing on the other end. Over and around. This wire is really soft, but it's the best one to teach you with. And then we're going to turn it up, and we can see there's one on each end. And I'm going to turn it over to the larger barrel because we're going to press it in the middle. Try to find your center if you can. And then once you have your center, you want to press up like that. Make sure these little hoops are together. And then you squish it together. And when they join, you've made your chain. Pretty simple, huh? Pretty simple. And they're elegant too. You can do a bunch of them, and you can do them in all sizes. Little, small, medium, large. So we're going to do several of these. And how many of you are actually beginner jewelry makers? Make that loop one more time. Just pull it over like that. Kind of turn it just a little bit and pull it off, and you get like a lollipop look. Can everybody see okay? I'm trying to get back into the camera. I'm so sorry. Maybe if I pull it up a little bit, it might help. Let me try that. It's very warm out where I am, so I have shorts on. I look like I'm ready to go to the beach or something, or work on the car maybe. Are you asking me a question, or is that a hi, Tikite? Get this down here. There we go. I couldn't see what you said. Oh. Yeah, and you can bead these too. You can bead these actual little guys here. And I'm using some really small beads because this wire is so small. Look at these things. They are tiny. Can you see that? I do beading also, by the way. And I do a lot more than this. I just was doing this tonight to kind of teach everybody how to do a simple chain link that you could do for a necklace or a bracelet. You could do a belt if you got so engaged to do so. Like, you could actually make yourself a belt. And you can use these too, folks. I had to find these. These are my older ones. But here they are. And you can use round nose pliers. You just might want to mark your nose pliers. And you just turn it around again just like you would on the other until you get that little lollipop look. Well, you know, you can I will put down here somewhere tonight. I'll put a link after I get off for you. Do you say it T-Tight 7? How about I call you TT7? That'll be easier for me. I'll put a link in here for Parawire. It's actually not that expensive. You can either go to parawire.com or you can order off of Amazon also. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by Parawire, Amazon, or any of those. I'm just offering that because Parawire, the wire is really great. It hardly ever tarnish. It would take a war for it to tarnish. And so it's the most reasonable wire that you can use when you're first starting out. So we're just pressing this up again around here, just like that. And could you see how I brought those together? Am I in the camera for you guys? And my cat is trying to get up here and walk on my laptop while we're doing this, which is nothing unusual for her. So once you get those two there, you want to make sure they're lined up. Mine didn't line up quite that good, but once they do, you can also use another pair of pliers just to kind of harden it down. It's pretty simple. And so now we have 3 of these that we can actually hook together. That one's a little off, sorry, I'm only human. Tech type, okay. Why didn't I get that? I went to school for programming. So are you a tech? You do IT work? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you taught me something. That is awesome. You wonder what I'm doing. I was trying to get my little bag of beads open here. I don't even know. These are lolly beads, by the way. They're not the most expensive, but they are really pretty. And I have just about every size there is that will actually fit on wire. If I got it too close, I don't even know. I'm going by a delayed image, by the way. Yeah, I love astronomy too. That's awesome that you're into that. Can I ask you a favor? Would you please put a thumbs up on my live while you're here? I'd really appreciate that. And Sifa World, are you still here? Oh, and I did spend a few months ago, but I actually did, I don't know, because you say you're into astrology, but I did some, Lord, I got to even think what I did. I did the astrology signs in clay. I also did the Viking ruins, and I did those in resin. Oh, okay, thank you. It's probably a delay on my end. My cat is just going nutty tonight. I don't know. Maybe she sees a bird. I don't know how cats see at night, but it's pitch black out here. And she must see a bird or something because she is up in the window on the hunt. You're awesome. So you should come to more of my lives. It's just, I do a lot more than this. But I've been trying to help people because I know when I first started, and the beads go everywhere, when I first started, it was really hard. I just got through teaching 2 different classes, and I've got a 3rd and a 4th one to do online here with the chain mallet. And so I'm trying to teach people how to do that, and I taught a 4-in-1 class. Okay, so I am trying, if you wonder what I'm trying to do, this bead is so small. I'm trying to get my wire into that hole. I don't know if you can see that. And then I just feed it on there, just like that. See there? So you can bead these too. And depending on the size of the bead, because like these lolly beads come in all different sizes with the holes, you can go up to higher gauges. Like this is 18 gauge pare wire. And that is what this chain's made out of. Like I said, I probably should have made a copper chain tonight instead of silver, but I wasn't thinking. This is 18 gauge pare wire. I just think it's more sturdy. And I'll show you something too, something else, or also I should say. Some days I just can't talk, you know. Okay, I made these about If you look on my thing, you'll see where it says making beaded chain links. And I made these with jump rings, by the way. And these are real gemstones. They are malachite, and those actually are sterling rings that I created myself, sterling jump rings. How's the light doing for you guys? So I thought these were really pretty. And that, this here with the malachite, I'm going to be doing, maybe I might finish it tomorrow night. This cab is going to go with this necklace. The faux turquoise that I made and I resined right here in this little white oven you see in the background. It's going to go with this necklace. I did not make the lobster claw, not that good, but I did create the jump rings on each end and create this necklace like this so that I could join together and put a bezel in the middle and put this faux turquoise on it, which I think is really pretty. Do you like turquoise? I have real turquoise, but this is kind of to keep it within the range because it can get really expensive making jewelry. Am I even under the camera? Or there's the faux turquoise. So I apologize if you guys can hear the crickets outside my window. I have my windows open, the fan on, and my AC running. Okay, so we're going to work on these easy but trying chain links. And we're going to make, I should have called them paper clip links because that's what they look like. And there is such a thing as paper link chain links. So I'm going to get this next bead on here if it didn't roll out of my hand somewhere else. I'm trying to find the hole. This is, there we go. Ooh, I tell you. These are the tiniest beads I've ever seen. And I've got a gauge thing that actually measures the millimeter of beads. And I need to measure these. These are probably, what? I think the higher the bead count, the smaller the bead, if I remember correctly. I've just been doing it so long I don't think about it. Okay, so we got 2 there. Then we're going to put another one on here. We're only going to do like 3. And then I'll show you how to hook it into the chain links that we've already made right here. That one looks a little wonky there. Sorry about that. Like I said, I'm only human. And I'm going to get one more silver lolly bead on here. I just have to be able to get the hole to come to the wire. Oh my goodness. Let's try this again. I don't know if you can tell, but these holes are really, really small. I mean, this is a tiny bead. I kid you not. A tiny, tiny bead. Oops. And if I turn my hand, they roll out. So, let me get that. Oops. There we go. And if you find that your beads Tektite, if you find your beads holes aren't big enough, you can buy a small, it looks like a single, I don't know where mine is. I just moved in this place not that long ago, so my studio hadn't been set up that long, and I'm a mess everywhere. But But you can buy them, and I don't know if you got any when you bought your beads. And you can actually hand drill the hole and enlarge it. It makes the holes larger for your bead. How about that? Okay, so we're going to go ahead, now that we have these on here, the 3 Lali silver beads, which are tiny, 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 like a grain of sand almost. We're going to put the wire in there. You want to get the wire as close to the edge between your bail pliers as you can. And then you're going to turn it over just like you did before. And we're going to make that as round as we can. And there we go. We got our little loop there on the top like a lollipop. Okay. So when you have the beads on, of course, it's very different because we're going to have to bend where the beads are. So we've got to, I'm going to put it, here's what I'm going to do. See the little hole there where we joined those together? We're going to run this wire through there. Now, if you want it, I guess, you could do it through here instead. But then it's going to look like they're on the same link, and we don't want that. We want them to look separate if possible. So there we go with that. We're putting that through. And then we're going to pull this up here and press down in the center. You know, it really is easy. I don't know what my problem is tonight, but I'm definitely on the not doing it perfect. Okay, so then we're going to take our small, which I said was about 4.5 millimeter, this size is the barrel, on the barrel wire. And we're going to run that all the way around, just like that. And again, we're going to take these. I'm going to actually, you got to work them around these beads because the beads are in the way now. So we want to slide these beads up to the left of the wire, not to the right where my right hand is with the pliers. We want to get this down in the center. I promise you it's easier than this. I don't know why, but it's just, it's making it like it's really hard, and it's not. Okay, so once you get it there, it almost looks like a wishbone with some beads on it. You want to press this together again. Bring these two up until those two circles meet on the top. And once they meet, usually what I do is I have bent nose pliers. That's what these are. And I take the bent nose pliers and I squeeze it gently because you don't want to mar your wire. If it's a soft wire, it'll leave marks and it will be noticeable. It will to me anyway. So once you get that up there like that and it's those two holes are aligned with each other, you have now created a beaded loop on your chain link. What I like to do is I like to do like one every, do another chain link and do, like we've got one here that's not beaded, one that's beaded. So the next one to this one would be beaded also. So do you like that look, the beaded look on that? I'm trying to make it so you can see it. So we're going to work on the next one, and that one's going to also be beaded. And what I'm going to do is take one that I've already made here, if I can get it to pick it up, and we're going to pull it apart. This is some real delicate wire. Okay, my suggestion is that you use 22 gauge maybe. This is like 26, 28 gauge. It's 3 times higher up and makes it really small and makes it hard to work with. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to take my bent nose pliers and gently bend this loop out this way. And then I'm going to take my hand because it's soft enough that I can pull it up. And we're going to start throwing the beads on this one. And then we'll hook it into the next chain link. And like I said, these are almost like what I call paper clip chain links. So I'm getting some more beads since I seem to have lost some. They've become runaways. Okay, so now we're going to pick this one up if I can get it off here. There we go. And we're going to run the wire through the bead. Yay, I think I might have been able to get 2 on there today. Yay. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Okay, so I spoke too soon. Ah. Oops, I knew that was going to happen. Okay, let's get another bead. Let's try this one at a time. I was too excited because 2 went on there at once. Okay, so I'm going to pour some beads out here, a bunch. So in front of my measuring stick here, as I call it. There we go. I'm sorry my hands get in the way. I apologize, but all I'm doing is sliding the bead down onto the wire. And we're going to do 2 more of these so that there's at least 3 on each one. Oops. These are the tiniest beads. You might want to work with a larger bead. Just to begin with. Okay, I'm going to have to roll this in my hand so I can find the hole in this bead. Oops. There we go. All right. Tick tight and Siffa whirl, we got it. Yay. And I will be putting links in my description so you will know. I'm talking as I'm typing, so you will know where you can buy pare wire and these lolly beads if you choose to. I think the lolly beads are really pretty. Oops. Sorry about that. Thank you for your patience, everybody. It's hard to type, hold beads in one hand, and I'm having stuff pop up on my screen. Why, I don't know. I keep telling it. And I tell it no thanks because it keeps trying to sell me stuff. Nope. This darn thing, what is going on with my computer? Sorry, guys. There we go. Finally. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Anybody have favorite gemstones? And what kind of beads are you actually working with, Tektite? Can you tell me what type of beads you bought? Okay. Now we're going to do this one here, which we've got the 3 beads on it now. Remember what I said? We're going to pull that down because we want this to be like almost like a little wishbone. And then we're going to take the 4mm barrel nose pliers again, right on the end there, and we're going to turn that so it will look like a little hoop at the end, almost like a lollipop. Then we're going to pull it down so it's like this, and then we're going to connect it into the next link here on the opposite side. So I'm going to have to open this one end up, which I closed, and I shouldn't have. And then we're going to smush that down again so it makes like a little hoop there. And then we'll pull these 2. Sorry if my hands keep getting in the way. It's hard not to until they match up. I'm going to try to straighten this out. It sort of got bent here along the way. This is really soft wire, by the way, folks. Really soft wire. Can somebody say hi to me so I know you're here? I may have to look on my phone. My computer may not be pulling it up. So you guys get to see my old mug. No, it's showing the same. Huh, that's strange. Okay, awesome. So just for laughs and giggles, I'm going to do a poll, or a Q&A, I should say. And I say, what would you like to see a tutorial on? Beading. Wire wrapping. I do wire wrapping too, by the way. And hopefully this should work. I'm not quite sure. It says answers will appear on the chat messages. Okay, so all you have to do is type in there what you'd like to see. And there's the poll. Okay, so we're going to make some more of these chain loops. Again, you just want to make a little round circle on each end, almost like a lollipop. And then we'll do the other end. This is really soft wire. I'm so sorry. The next time I'm going to figure out better wire for doing this. But it does work. And then we'll make another hoop there. I use my pliers to push these hoops down. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing. I am so sorry. I am talking away and doing it just like as if you could see it. All right. I'm going to use the barrel nose pliers again. Put your wire in the center of the barrel nose. And you just want to press up here. And you kind of bring it off because you want these two ends to meet and go over each other like that, like they cover. And once they cover, you've got your chain loop. It's almost like a teardrop too, by the way. And it's pretty simple. It's not that hard. Like I said, I made these out of 18 gauge. And I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of this 18 gauge because it's just a little more easy for me to work with. Even though it is harder to make the loops out of them. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to measure out, well, I've got a little bit over about 6 inches here. We're going to cut one piece there, which would make that around almost 2 inches, that piece is. So it's 1.5 1/4 inches. And then we'll match these up and cut that there again. Thank you everybody for showing up. I really appreciate you being here. This was just a simple type of thing I wanted to teach because I believe people can always use chains. They're expensive, and making your own can be a lot cheaper than purchasing them sometimes, depending on what you want to get. I want this to match these, so I'm having to cut that little piece off there, about 1 centimeter. And then we're going to do it again, but this time we're doing it with 18 gauge pare wire. So I'm grabbing it there in between my barrel nose pliers, wrapping it around all the way so I can create like a little lollipop or a little backwards P, if you want to call it that, a backwards P. And you want to press these down so they actually meet to the wire that you're making the loop on. Off using my other pliers to. You don't want to squeeze it very hard. You just want to mash it enough so it's pretty close to that. Then we're going to do the other end exactly the same way. Turn the pliers over, the barrel nose pliers. Put your wire in there to the edge like that so you don't have much hanging out. And then roll it and turn it. Roll it and turn it. You know that's pretty tight because it was holding on to the barrel nose. All right, so this is a lot more sturdier, and you might find it easier. So it's like a little canoe. How about that? A little metal canoe. Each end of the canoe in the middle. Then we're going to take what? The barrel nose pliers. Bring this up in the center. Make sure you've got the center here so that you can match up these two hoops. You're going to press that up. See, I said it was going to be harder to do this. This wire is much harder to work with because it's softer, but it's not super soft. And then we're going to bring these together like this. I'm using the pliers because it makes it easier. You can kind of bring it up a little bit and bend it. There we go. And then we match those two up. Perfect. See? Perfect. And there is your chain link. And if you make about 10 to 12 of these, maybe, okay, at least 12, I'd say up to 24 to make a bracelet. At least 24 to make a bracelet. Okay. And if you come here tomorrow night, if you come here tomorrow night, I will be doing a really in-depth, I'm going to be working on cabochons here that I've created out of polymer clay and resin. And I will be hooking up that necklace that I showed you earlier with the malachite beads, which are real gemstones. I'll be doing that tomorrow night, and I'm thinking about making a couple of rings. So this was just a quick thing to teach everybody here how to make these little chain links, which are really, they are really simple. I don't know why I was having such an issue tonight with them, but I think the 18 gauge, myself personally, even though it's harder and you may have to use a pair of pliers to close them at the top and you may have to move the hoop over the other one so they match up. I think it's much sturdier, and it absolutely would make a gorgeous bracelet or even a necklace. And you can put beads, as I showed you, just like the others. You're just going to have to use a larger hole bead on the 18 gauge parawire, because it's going to require a larger hole bead for that to work. Any questions, anyone? Anyone have any questions? Please remember to like, share, subscribe, come back. There's more great stuff. I promise you I do a lot more than this. This was just to help people if they wanted to know how to make an inexpensive chain link for bracelets, necklaces, and even ankle bracelets. It's just something really simple and very inexpensive, and you don't have to pay all that money out there for what they charge. And you've got something that's not going to tarnish because you're using parawire. I will definitely stand up and vouch for them. Parawire is amazing. I have never had it turn or rust or anything. It just seems to last forever. It is really a good wire. And so I'm going to put the links down in my live after this. Of course, it takes a few minutes. I have to publish the live up there is what it does, and it processes it, just so you know at the end, Teak, that it does that. And Sifta Whirl, are you still here? Come back to see me tomorrow night. I'm doing some really awesome stuff. I think you guys would like it. I also paint and draw. So I do a lot of fantasy work, dragons and all that. And I do steampunk. And I'm really into the cosplay and anime. So I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, really, I mean it, for coming in here and being with me tonight. I know it seems simple, and it was. It really isn't that hard what I taught you, and I think anyone can do it. And it's definitely a saver in the pocketbook if you want to make a quick bracelet or a necklace. And you can even, look, you can take these and put jump rings in between them and hang off cabochons or other beads that you've bought. You can run a wire and put a jump ring in it and hang it in the middle. It'll look gorgeous with this. I really think it will. It'll look gorgeous. So did anybody vote in the thing that I did? I'm going to look on my screen because it's hard for me to see it on the other. Well, maybe it didn't go up there. I thought it did. There it goes now. So if you'd like to see a tutorial on beading and wire wrapping, or what would you like to see? And I will definitely accommodate you with that. And I do a lot of other things too. I do a lot of resin work, a lot of clay work, a lot of fun stuff. This was just an easy, simple thing tonight to try to teach people how to create what I'm going to call this, even though I said chain link in my description. I am going to call these like a paper clip, because that's what they remind me of, a paper clip chain. So I think they're gorgeous, and I think you can do a lot with this. You can add beads to it. You can make it into necklaces. choker, if you're into that. It's amazing what you can do. And even earrings, matching earrings, huh? Maybe some kind of steampunky or retro earrings. So I'm so glad everybody came in. I just wanted to say thank you again so much. Look, I do a lot of giveaways too, and I do make some really pretty stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not, patting myself on the back or anything, so don't get me wrong. But I make some really pretty pieces. You come in here, you talk, you're active, then I'll remember you, and I usually take names so that when I have drawings for genuine gemstones and pieces that I've created, I do that about once every month and give something away. So I like to see everybody have something that they might really enjoy. So let me know what you'd like to see. Let me know what you like, and I'll do my best to accommodate you. Again, thank you. I am Organic Silver Moon Designs. It's been really nice having everyone here. Teak, thank you for being here. I hope to see you tomorrow night. We'll be live again tomorrow night at 8:30, and I'll be finishing up, like I said, these with the necklace I showed you earlier. And I think you're going to do great, Teak, with the beads and stuff. So I don't think you have a problem at all. Just come around. I do beading too, and I actually do different things. I do hope you got yourself a beading tray if you're doing that style of beading, so Teak. It'll make it much easier on you to make bracelets and necklaces and even headpieces. So if there are no questions, and hopefully you got this, and hopefully a few people stayed around. And so I guess this is the end of the poll. I'm trying to figure out, I'm not used to doing these polls. I'm trying to get this thing to cut itself off, and I don't know how to do it. All right, so Teak and Sifa Whirl were my top viewers. I really appreciate everybody being here. You guys are often awesome. Please come back and see me again. I promise you there'll be so much more, and I will be live again tomorrow night, Saturday night, finishing up my malachite and sterling silver jump rings, along with a faux piece of turquoise, a cabochon made into a teardrop. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. I am Organic Silver Moon Designs. Peace and love. Come back and see me. I promise you, you will enjoy some of the things I do. And I thank you for your patience and for coming here tonight and being a part of this live. It means so much. It really does. Thank you again. And come on back tomorrow night. I got some great stuff coming. In my future, I plan on doing some wired wrap Stranger Things, the D&D dice, because I used to play D&D. Am I telling my age? And I still play Switch. But come on back tomorrow night. Let's get into this and let's enjoy this, because there's nothing better than making your own jewelry. Not only can you make it for gifts, but you can make it so that you're able to sell it. All right. Thank you so much, Teak and everyone. And thank you again for you coming in. Thank you for the likes and everything. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow night, Saturday, 8:30. Be here. Don't be square. Come see me. Have some fun. I promise you. And you'll learn to make some really cool stuff. It's all in your imagination. All right. Good night, folks. Thank you again for coming in. Thank you for all the thumbs up. Thank you for the support. I really mean it. I really enjoyed having you here tonight. Good night, everybody.